EA DICE has just introduced the 5.2 patch to their 12-month-old game Battlefield 5, which rebalances all the weapons in the game. DICE say that a hypothetical large group of players were dissatisfied with the game, whereas an actual real-life large group of players on Reddit say that they're only doing it for that juicy Christmas noob money. Who's right, who's wrong? Here to discuss it is Mr. Henry, don't touch my rifle, Cooper.
This is my rifle.
There are many like it, but this one is mine.
So let's get into the backstory then. Just a few weeks after launch, DICE made adjustments to the weapons in Battlefield 5, and those adjustments effectively made the weapons less powerful and increased the TTK, or the time to kill, as it's known. Players were upset at the time, and they voiced their opinions so much that 1 week later, DICE rolled back the changes and apologized, and that was on December the 18th, I think, last year. But now, 12 months down the line, DICE are walking back their apology and have actually reintroduced the blanket weapon nerf, saying that they were wrong all along to change it back. DICE are saying that the reason is that players are dissatisfied, but some players are really pissed off, again, as you can imagine, claiming that they're doing it to bring in the casuals, and with it, the microtransaction money. Now, microtransactions were introduced on April the 4th this year. The game launched without them, and so Update 2 introduced the Battlefield currency, known as Boins, colloquially.
Not even trying to think of a clever name anymore. It's just Battlefield currency.
Battlefield currency. Well, they called it Boins because BC is obviously shit. The Boins is the fake money you can buy with real money, and with the fake money you can buy cosmetic microtransactions for up to $7.50 a pop. So many of the skins are not earnable with company coins, which is the other fake money you can earn by playing, and the premium currency, or Boins, is the only way to acquire many of the items in the cosmetic store. All very complicated. Could be done in a whole other video, you could say. And that's not to mention the other purchase which you can make with microtransactions, which are the time savers, because we all love saving a bit of time by not playing our game as much, right?
So it sounds like if there's a bullshit, modern day AAA monetization practice, you can find it in Battlefield 5. It's going to be in there.
Oh, they didn't do it at launch though. This whole thing was out at launch.
Which is another one of the bad things. Do all the bad things, but you don't do them straight away. You do them once the reviews come out.
So let's talk about today's bad thing. So what have they done with the update? So they announced the update 23 days ago to give people time to process it. The update 5.2, which went live a couple of days ago, and they promised new community games, a new lunge mine, the Fliegerfaust, whatever that is, a new Wake Island map, sandbox improvements, enemy acquisition icons, spot changes, angle of attack changes, as well as the most contested one, which is the damage over range, or weapon balancing, as they said. Now, this is the quote from the update. With 5.2, we're going to be addressing the damage over distance values of the different weapon classes to help promote healthier gameplay on the objectives. And then they posted a bunch of graphs to illustrate the differences changes that they're making to the weapons. The orange is the current amount of bullets it takes to kill based on how far you are away from your enemy, and the blue is how many bullets it's going to take based on your distance from your enemy in the 5.2 patch. So if you look at the example of the MG42, at 40 meters, it used to take 5 bullets to kill an opponent. After the 5.2 patch, it takes 10 bullets. That's double the amount of bullets, Henry, to kill an opponent. And you're talking the MG42, the staple of the Nazis during World War II. This is an absolute beast of a weapon. It takes 10 bullets at 40 meters. What the fuck are they doing?
The German industrial engineering machine isn't good enough to kill at range anymore. One of the most powerful military forces in the world that the world has ever seen. Nope, their guns don't mean shit anymore.
So that was the original post. They met some feedback, and then 10 days later they posted this is again before the update went live. They posted another response to the concerns and negative feedback. So this was 13 days ago. It's a very extensive post trying to appease the people who were upset that they're going to re-nerf these weapons. The global community manager says in the post, now get this, changing the base time to kill is not our goal, and these changes are far broader and more advanced than the blanket damage reduction that we briefly implemented last year. It's not their goal
then why are you doing it?
The weapon damages, Henry. It's not their goal to do it.
I cannot get my head around this one. Like in the post, they've got a sort of a TLDR at the top as well, and it says again, we have not set out to change the time to kill in Battlefield. But then why did you do it? That's exactly what you've done. So why, if you hadn't set out to do it, why did you do it?
It's ridiculous. But they're not aiming to change the time to kill. They're not trying to change the time to kill. It's not their goal, but they're changing it anyway. It's ridiculous is what it is. I'd like to see them not try and rush out a broken, unfinished game in time for Christmas sales period. No, wait, they already did that.
Yep, they did that years ago, and then they tried to do this exact change, and then people had a go at them, and now they've done the exact same thing again. The question is, why are they doing this? Because they said they didn't mean to, they weren't planning to. But they
we
have
accidentally.
Done it. Yeah.
I just fell on. That excuse. I fell on a.
But why are they doing it? And realistically, it's definitely not to capitalize on all those noobs and new casual players who are going to get the game for Christmas, and there's a whole new swarm of players coming in. It's definitely not to appease them. So their quotes are as follows. It comes as a result of very carefully planned changes that encourage a better entry point for players wanting to commit to Battlefield while sustaining skilled cannon weapons that reward committed players. You quit when you feel the game is unfair or unbalanced, or that you don't have a chance. You quit when you're shot in the back without having an opportunity to face your enemy. A death is less punishing when you feel like the kill was skill on the part of the enemy. More problematic are long-range deaths with weapons that are marked for short range. You don't expect them to be a threat, and when you die at 100 meters from an SMG, it feels wrong and it's frustrating. So this is very much to accommodate the new players coming in, so that they're not just going to get rinsed the entire time from people who are sniping with non-sniper weapons and they can just kill them from nowhere, because we all know that's frustrating and that's going to be the biggest reason you rage quit. But you shouldn't be altering your game to appease the new people. You should be prioritizing your current fan base, your loyal fan base who have spent lots of money on this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of indication in these quotes that we just read out that they are trying to alleviate some frustrations for the new players. You quit when you feel the game's unfair. You quit when you're shot in the back. They're trying to avoid people quitting is what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep people engaged for longer. They're trying to get as many players as they can playing their game. We all know that the more people play your game, the more money that they make out of microtransactions. And funny enough, last year, their exact rationale for the changes that they made with the TTK changes, they said exactly the same thing, saying, our intent with the TTK changes was to see if we could evolve Battlefield 5 experience and make it more enjoyable for new players. Those were those exact words
for new players,
taken out of their apology last year for the reasoning why they did it last year. And it's exactly the same this year. It's completely echoed in the reasoning for changing it back this year. It's because they want to make it more enjoyable for new players. Take away the frustration, take away the reason why people quit.
Now, enticing new players into a game is always a good thing, but when it comes at the expense of your current players, that's when it's a problem, and you're messing up the TTK, which is what a lot of people say is the best thing about Battlefield, or at least it was until they changed it all. Now then, there's a question of, are players satisfied? Are the current player base satisfied? And their quotes are, through our surveys, we were able to measure that while there is a group of current players who are satisfied, but there is a much larger group of current players who are dissatisfied. We can see that the satisfaction with the core gameplay loop has decreased over time from a quite positive position a year ago at launch to a more neutral or even negative position now a year later.
I'd like to see these surveys, these fictitious surveys that they're not providing, they're not showing the evidence for, and they're just making up, we know that you guys are satisfied, but believe me, honestly, there's a bigger group of people with more money in their pockets who are dissatisfied, and we want to make them happy. Let's screw you guys who are playing our game, and let's try and fish for these players that aren't playing our game, who have a lot more money than you.
Was there really a big group of people who were satisfied at launch? I remember a lot of people being massively dissatisfied at launch due to a significant lack of content and a bunch of modes that weren't there, which were supposed to be.
Yeah, I think they're making shit up now, don't you?
This is pulling numbers. Sorry, not even pulling numbers. They don't even have numbers to lie about.
Inventing fictitious numbers.
Which they're not even giving us. Carrying on in the very lengthy Reddit post in the FAQ section, where they're responding to why they're making the changes that they rolled back last year. So they made the changes, then they've gone back, and now they've gone back again. Last year's change was a quick reaction to situations that we were seeing at launch and was meant as a first step on the road towards a better experience. In hindsight, that change was too abrupt and too early.
You know, with the benefit of hindsight,
we messed it up that time, but believe us, this time we know what we're doing.
Yeah, we made a mistake by introducing TTK. Now we also made a mistake by making the weapons, putting the weapons back again. There's two mistakes now, and this is definitely not a mistake now, guys. believe us.
And then specifically, when they're directly asked about the question regarding Christmas noobs and incoming influx of casuals, they say, no, we've been evaluating the balance of our weapons all year and weren't able to implement changes in time for the start of Chapter 5. Our new design allows us to reset the balance and start to tweak from a new baseline. So we promise it's not to do with the Christmas influx of players that's just conveniently about to happen.
What gets me about this is that it's not a rebuttal. There's no evidence stating or supporting them that this isn't the case, and there's no reason as to why they wouldn't want to change it just for Christmas. There's absolutely nothing. It's just like, oh, we were thinking about it all along. We were doing it. We're going to do it all along. We couldn't do it a couple of weeks ago. Just believe us, guys. You have to believe us. It's like, really?
Don't have to.
How sure are you that this isn't a mistake this time when you've made 2 mistakes before?
Yeah, in a year's time when you change it again, you're going to say, oh no, we got it wrong that time too, but we got it right this time. We got it. But one of my favorite things about all these changes is it has now made some challenges impossible to complete. Challenges in multiplayer games are really good for continuing people's engagement. They give you more things to do and a lot of XP and medals and stuff. So there's one example which I caught on Reddit of a challenge which is to kill an enemy over 30 meters away using a Type 100 weapon. That weapon's range is only 0 to 20 meters, so you're expected to kill someone from exceeding the weapon's range, so you cannot kill them. You cannot do that because they've changed all the numbers but haven't updated the challenges. Now, obviously, the challenges will probably get updated over time, but it's little things like this which kind of, I wouldn't say break, but just kind of fracture the fundamentals of people's gameplay loops. And naturally, as Reddit often tends to do, it doesn't respond in the best way, so I picked out just a couple of different responses from people. So this one is from 19Romulus84. Give us back our game. You can't play this game. Everything was well balanced. You destroyed it. This game is unplayable. I will not play this game until you give us our game. The game's unplayable, but it's a game and I got it, but I'm not playing it. It is suitable for court after a year to change the game parameters so that this game has simply become a completely different game. I did not buy such a game and I would never buy. Bring back TCK, which was because it was good.
That's a great sentence.
There's some amazing sentences here. ROF was balanced then by stability and accuracy, and it was good. Now it's balanced by damage, and it's fatal. Not happy. I'm not playing it. Not going to buy it. I would never buy this, but I have bought it, but I'm not playing it now.
He gets his point across. He gets the point made.
There's another one here from Logan Lives. Here's hoping the community realizes that they have the power to have their voices heard by not playing. It's as simple as that. The posts, upvotes, comments, dislikes, etc. are meaningless if they continue to play the game. Make your voice heard and opinion known to DICE by giving the game a substantial break and seeing what they do in response. That's what I plan to do. Besides, there are so many great titles out right now. Walk away and let DICE sweat a little. That's absolutely right, because all of these things talking about complaints on Reddit, they only go so far. The best thing to do is just stop playing. You can go back when they fix it, if they listen to you, but just stop playing if it's pissing you off that much.
My only thought here is, did this guy just spoil the end of the movie Logan for me? If so, then what a dick.
Well, you should watch that movie because it's really good. It's The Last of Us, but with Wolverine instead of Joel. It's great. Anyway, my final little Reddit comment here I thought was a really nice way to articulate the whole narrative quite succinctly. The community. Pretty much the only thing we all agree on is the TTK is great. Don't change it. DICE. I'm gonna change the TTK. Community, please no. DICE, I've changed the TTK. The community. This happened in 2018. Exactly 1 year later. DICE. Fuck you, I'm gonna do it again. I love it. They've taken you for a fool once and they're literally doing it again.
This is what you get when you trust the likes of EA. You trust the likes of people in the industry like this who are only after one thing: engagement, community connection, and opportunity to take money out of your wallets while you're playing with your mates. It's essentially why they're making games. They're balancing your game now in order to optimize the amount of money, making the most amount of money possible out of their player bases. They don't care how much fun you're having. This is it. Like, they make your game grindy, so they sell you the time savers. They make your weapons shit, so people can come in, more people, all the casuals can come in and enjoy the game and not get killed so much. Like, the kids can play now. Like, 30-year-olds can compete against other people because they don't get killed so quickly. And that's the only reason why they're doing this. And don't let them try and bullshit you to say, oh, we've got more reasons. We've been planning this all along. We got more reasons all along. We were planning it. It's not about that. If it was, explain to us why they need to double or half the damage that an MG42 makes at 40 meters. There's no reason for doing that. That would make better gameplay. Absolutely zero.
Nothing. Nada. Zip.
especially not at the expense of the people who are already in your game. Yeah, it's going to be nicer for the new people to come in and not get destroyed all the time, but you shouldn't be prioritizing them. You should be prioritizing the ones who have already been loyal for the game's lifetime, but they're the ones you should be focusing on, not these new people. This is such a major misstep, especially following what would have been a good thing, which was the Pacific update, which was going to add 2 new maps, new weapons, new factions, new vehicles, all good stuff. People really looking forward to it, but this has pretty much just undermined it because it's a fundamental problem. You can put all this cool new stuff in, but if the fundamentals are no longer in line with everything else in the game, if there's one little domino that's fallen over, everything else is just going to be useless at that point.
And the bottom line for me is the fact that in spite of their loyal fan base, this is in spite of them. It's like they don't care about the people who have supported them since launch and played their game since launch. They don't care about any of you. All they care about is the new people, the new money, the most money. That's all they care about.
Well, that's it from us ranting for another day about another EA bullshit video game scenario. Make sure to leave a comment down below about what you think. Are you a loyal Battlefield player? Will this put you off? Have you not played a Battlefield game for years just because of EA and they've pulled this bullshit again and again and again? Make sure to let us know. Leave a like, hit subscribe, and of course make sure to hit the bell. Go on over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming to support the content we create and get access to our podcast, which is awesome. I've been Henry, he's been Gaz. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.